Hey guys, I'm a little bit late doing my one little word prompt for September. There's actually like less than a week of September left to go, which is a shame because I just haven't really got round to it, but it's one of those prompts that I actually really love. So the original take on the prompt was a spinner with six kind of action items to, I guess, like find physical ways to come back to your word. It's less kind of thinky and more kind of doey, and I love those kind of prompts. So I'm a little bit sad that I didn't get to it sooner. That being said, I may well leave this out for a little bit longer than the rest of September. So what I'm going to do though is I'm not going to do a spinner. I've got the smaller album. My spinner ended up being really small, and as I've mentioned before, my album's getting a little bit bulky and I didn't really want to have the bulk of a spinner in there as well. I kind of thought about having the spinner separately and then maybe documenting photos of what I've been doing. In the end, I thought, let's not overthink this. I want to make it really simple. So what I'm going to do instead is kind of make like lucky dip envelopes. So I have got one of these 2x2 square page protectors for my Life Crafted album. And I'm going to make little envelopes that fit into each of the pockets. So I'm going to end up with like 8 action items. I have already gone ahead and written my little actions here on some wee cards that are just slightly smaller than 2x2. So I've got 8. I'm going to make 8 little envelopes, pop them in, and then randomly put in my little cards. And then every time I feel like doing one of these things, hopefully more than once a day, I will just randomly pick an envelope and do whatever action is in there. I am going to use this 6x6 pad from Rosie Studios. This is the Chasing Butterflies collection, and I have worked out that to make the little envelopes to fit into here using my mini envelope punch board, I need to cut 3 1/4 inch squares, and the first punch is at 1 5/8 if you want to do the same thing. But because this is 3 by 3 1/4 inch squares, I'm only going to get 1 square out of each pattern paper. So I'm going to need to pick 8 pattern papers. I'm just going to do a random mix, I think, and then go ahead and make some envelopes.
So this really is a super simple process, and it is quite repetitive, so I have sped this up super quick for you. The first thing I want to do is I need to pick out 8 pieces of pattern paper. Like I said, because of the size that I need to trim this, which is 3 1/4, to be able to fit into those little pockets, I was kind of hoping it would come out at 3 inches, but when I used my envelope generator, it came out at 3 1/4. Which is kind of a pain. I do end up with a lot of little scrappy pieces left over, but it is what it is. The thing I like about this Rosie Studios paper is that it is paper. It's definitely not cardstock. It is a really thin weight paper, and so it's perfect for this because I'm folding all of these envelopes up. It does get a tiny bit bulky. I've got the card to put in there, so if this was cardstock, it really would be a lot harder for the envelopes to stay flat, so the paper works really nicely for that. I picked out kind of 8 random patterns. Some of them are more solid than others. I like that kind of mix. And then I've just gone ahead and used my punch board. So you punch the first one at 1 5/8, and then you spin it around 90 degrees, line it up with the little notches there, score it, punch it, and carry on with your envelopes. It's actually, it took me a while to work out how to use the punch board, and once I did, it was totally a no-brainer. I can carry on and do it no problem. I love this little tool. It's really, really handy. So I only corner punched the top edge of the envelopes just because there's no need to. The rest of it's going to be in a pocket. And so here I am. I'm going to just lightly adhere. Again, they're going into pockets, so I'm not worrying too much about it. I'm just folding in the 2 sides, folding up the bottom and adhering a tiny bit. And then I've got my little envelope that fits perfectly into the pocket there. When I put this envelope into the pocket, you can see they don't really close totally perfectly, and I will come up with some sort of solution for that. But it also is super hard to get the little cards out of the inside of the envelopes, so what I decided to do was trim these page protectors a little bit. I popped an envelope into the pocket and just made a little mark with just a permanent marker so it didn't rub off while I was cutting it. And then I just stuck my little Cutter-bee scissors into the pocket, and I'm just cutting the top piece of plastic. Just cutting a little V out of the top of that from one corner to the center, so that when I pop the envelope in, it's really a whole lot easier to get those tiny cards out. So it didn't take me long. I did this on every single little pocket. It's only 8. It didn't take long at all. It was super simple. It's really hard for you to see it here, but each of those little 2x2 pockets has a V in it, and then I can go ahead and just randomly stick a card into each envelope and stick the envelopes into the pockets. I just kind of distributed the colors, I guess, the more solid patterns, so they weren't all next to each other, and then interspersed those with some of the more like florals, the more kind of detailed patterns. So everything looks really nice and balanced. Now the last issue that I had was that the sort of flaps of the envelopes didn't sit down as neatly as I wanted them to. So I did try not scoring them, kind of like folding them with my bone folder a little bit further. That didn't quite do it either. And so what I did was go and grab some of these little puffy stickers from that same collection. I'm just going to add one puffy sticker onto each envelope flap, and call this page done.
Okie dokie, so my little stickers, they don't stick particularly well at all to anything, so I think what I'm going to do is I'll just use a little bit of liquid adhesive and adhere them just to the paper portion only. It doesn't really matter too much if they're not sticking to the page protector. I just kind of like it, it's cute, it kind of adds the little sort of pick and mix lucky dipness of this. Pull out a little card, pop it back in. I think what I'm going to do is take this actually out of my binder for now, and maybe pop it on my pin board, I think, so that it's actually accessible for at least this next week anyway. I love this idea. I love this pick and mix thing. A spinner would be just as cute. It is fun to have actual action items for your word, especially those sort of more kind of abstract-y kind of concepts. So this was a really fun one, and it did not take me long. I should have done it earlier in the month. I hope you guys are doing well wherever you are. If you've got any questions, leave them down below for me. Otherwise, I will see you again really soon. Bye!